Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in on you. Have a few different segments that I want to try to get out today. The first one is just something that's like a thorn in my side right now, and not to deal with it. I don't plan on being too long in dealing with it, but I definitely plan on addressing it directly and emphatically. I want to encourage everybody to continue to take care of yourselves as we continue to deal with the COVID crisis and everything that's coming out of it. No matter what side of the spectrum you stand on, there's a challenge for you in it. And we need to make sure that we're optimizing our capacity to deal with it. And I will be sharing with you some ways that myself and my family and those that I counsel and consult are dealing with it to help you in whatever way it may be negatively impacting you. That will come in some subsequent videos over the course of the next 10 days or so. So stay tuned for that. I want to be as much of an inspiration and impact as I possibly can. Also, I want to remind you guys before I get started to support the work of the Odyssey Project. I have added the information to the chat. You can always find it in the first paragraph of the description box that is associated with any particular video on this channel. Here we are. Once again, Candace Owens has stuck her foot in her mouth, revealed who she really is, and may have even overstepped her bounds so much to the point that her own conservative colleagues, so to speak, or peers, are correcting her and distancing themselves from her and making it clear that they don't share her sentiments. Those who aren't aware, Candace a few days ago went on a Twitter tirade about the outrage that is being expressed because of the killing of Ahmaud Arbery. Now, as you know, it is typical white supremacy protocol 101 that when a white person does something wrong to a black person, to highly and quickly criminalize the black person, to find anything in their past that can serve as a justification or provide a negative narrative or commentary which would in some way dehumanize them and make it seem to the public that it wasn't that big of a deal, or maybe even it was justified. And this is so common. So it's come out that Ahmaud Arbery has a criminal past, and that burglary is a part of that criminal past. It's also come up that he was supposedly on a video going into a house that was being built, so an incompleted structure. I have always lived in homes. I grew up in a home, and I've always lived in homes. There have been a few times when I had spots in different cities than my home city, and I had an apartment in that spot. But as a general rule, I've always lived in homes. So I've seen communities being developed. I've walked in many homes that weren't yet completed and was sitting there and walked in. Rarely are you in a situation where you have to break into one. It's open access. You just walk in. I don't know the details of it. I don't know the specifics of how that took place. What I do know is what I saw on the video, which I didn't want to see, but somebody thought it was a good idea to sneak it to me without telling me what it was. But anyway, Candace Owens has come out and talked about who jogs in khaki shorts. Actually, people do jog in khaki shorts. I see them jogging around my neighborhood. And I've seen some people in shorts that more look like casual attire than athletic attire. Not everybody has the quote unquote look. That also goes to a complete cultural break or misconception about how everybody does. Everybody doesn't dress like soccer moms and basketball dads. Not everybody is dressing the part. Some people do what they do and do it how they do it. I'm not here to even really truly go into a great deal of explanation as to why he was wearing what he was wearing or why he was in the house. Here's what I am going to address before I get to Candace. He had had a previous confrontation with the two men, the Michaels, father and son, Team Gregory, and I believe Travis, the ones that shot him. He had an exchange with them already. From what I understand is when Gregory Mike Michaels was an investigator with the DA, he investigated Ahmaud. So there's a history there. Now, the fact that Ahmaud is now a resident in the area obviously is probably something for people who understand how this thing works, a problem. Someone that you see as being beneath you can afford to live where you live. That could be a problem. Someone who now jogs around the neighborhood daily as if he owns the place could be a problem. But what I want to focus on is getting away from the speculation so that I can lay out my foundation of how I'm going to deal with Candace Owens. The truth of the matter is, whether he went into the home or not, it's clear that after he came out of the home, he came out with nothing because he was jogging with nothing in his hand. He was not in any way an immediate threat. Again, he had nothing in his hand. He is chased down, cornered. He figures a way to get around it, heads back the other direction. Again, chased down and cornered. And then the guy gets out with the shotgun and goes around. At what point is he supposed to just sit up and say, shoot me? He doesn't know what's going on. These guys are not police officers. They're not in any vehicle that would designate that they have the authority to stop him based on suspicion. They are not in any way indicating that they have that right. Saying stop does not mean you got a gun. Why should I stop? You are white men that I've had an issue with and you've got a gun. Why would I stop? So everybody's talking about he should have just stopped. He should have just complied. I mean, we've seen over and over again in these type of situations where stopping and complying is not going to produce the result we would like for it to produce because it's not about compliance. Okay, we go on. I am sitting up and I'm watching this thing with a matter of seconds. He's shot, but he's fighting for his life and defending himself to the best of his ability, and he's shot again. And then he tries to jog off and he collapses. My thing is this. Consider and contemplate the worst case scenario of what Ahmaud Arbery could have done prior to being chased down. Consider that he actually broke into the home and did trespass. He didn't come out with anything. So we can't make an assumption he stole anything because he didn't have anything on him. So we have to assume that he just went in and looked around. Just went in as if so many other people, including myself, have done when you have a new erection coming up in your community. You go in and see what's going on or whatever, and it is what it is. They tell you don't do it. The kids around here go in there and play in the houses. Or when they were building a new section where we live now, they were building a new section a couple of years ago. Had to literally go find my son on the regular basis. Stay out of the houses. That's just a natural draw. But let's say, okay, you're not supposed to do it. So technically he's wrong. But we have to stop allowing them to paint narratives that say if you were doing something wrong, it should equate to the death penalty without even being tried and proven guilty. See, what we have to be able to do and what the outrage should be about is the fact that if it would have been the other way around, a white guy jogging, going into an unoccupied home that's under renovation or being built, looking around, coming out and jogging, and then two black men come along and stop him or attempt to stop him, and he keeps running and they end up shooting him to death. Let's be honest. Let's observe what history has shown us. Let's take the facts as we have them and come to a conclusion. How many of you know that they would have been arrested within the first 24 hours and more than likely on the spot? That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about the fact that black men are not getting the benefit of the doubt that white men get. Black men are not having the law stand on their behalf the way a white man can get it. We must be real with ourselves. So, Candace Owens, you have consistently revealed who you are. That's why I had such a problem when she was invited to the conference addressing black issues, and I forget the name of the conference, but T.I., Killer Mike, and all of them, and they invited her. What you got to understand is this isn't about interracial marriage, but it's about being able to have a voice for the black community when everything you do services the interests of whites. You're married to a white man. You lose your ability. My whole thing is if you want to marry white, marry white. But first of all, don't tell me you can't help who you fall in love with. That's bull crap, because people every day choose who they're not going to even give a second thought to. People choose, you got people out there that choose, I will not marry a felon. I will not marry a liar. I will not marry a cheater. I will not give attention to anybody who's overweight. I will not give it. You choose every day who you're going to even allow to get close enough to you to fall in love with. So one of my things is I am not going to marry a white woman. So I am never, ever, ever, ever going to be in a position to fall in love with one. Number one, she's not going to be attractive to me because she's not on my list. So again, I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't do, but what I can tell you is that the way we fight this, now I have people who I consider to be authentic friends who are white. But my white friends will tell you they know if it comes down between them and a black person I don't even know, I'm using the black person. Because I'm going to stand for my blackness before anything. I'm never going to be in a position where I even have a chance of being caught up in conflict of interest based on a relationship that opposes my identity. My friendships with those people are solid, but it's with an understanding. Don't ever put me in a position where I got to choose. You lose every time. But Candace was talking about how stupid black people are. The fact that so many things can happen to black people and we say nothing, and then a white man who's a burglar that gets shot for burglarizing a house ends up dead and we lose our minds. I could read a couple of things that she said. Let me just put it out there so I'm not misquoting. I'm keep it professional. I almost said something. Ahmaud Arbery was caught on camera breaking into an unfinished property that was owned by Larry English. His mother has confirmed it is him in the video. Please stop with the just the jogger bullshit narrative. Avid joggers don't wear khaki shorts and stop to break into homes. Lastly, to King James, because LeBron James had something to say about it. Lastly, to King James, who will never be what Kobe and Jordan were off the court because he lacks intellect. Brother, you have multiple homes. White personal chefs, gardeners, and housekeepers. If that's an example of literally being hunted by white people, then sign me up ASAP. Obviously, she doesn't know much about this kid. And I'm a huge Jordan and Kobe fan, out of a shadow of a doubt. But LeBron has done some things that are absolutely remarkable. And I'm talking about outside of what he does in between the lines of the court. I'm talking about the fact that he's completely changed the games of how contracts are being negotiated. He came in, he trained his homeboys, he set them up. His friend is one of the most powerful and influential agents in the business right now. They've literally created a rule in the NCAA to keep him out. That's the kind of thing that LeBron James is doing. Are there things that I wish he would do differently and better? Absolutely. But to come at him like that was crazy. Then here's the one. Black America. When 9-year-old Tashawn Lee is lured from a basketball court down an alleyway and shot dead by black gang members. Crickets. Black America, when a repeat burglar is shot dead for breaking into a home. Racism, injustice, protests. Our culture is a joke. Now that's read directly from her Twitter account. And my thing is, first and foremost, I remember what happened to Tashawn Lee. I was a part of the call for justice and the need to somebody, do I have anybody on here? Sweet Tea, you still here? Get rid of this clown, Cupo de Capi. I can't stand the idiot that doesn't even know the definition of racism. Exactly. Thank you. But this clown, I'm actually read what this clown wrote. Preaching about racism, and then you say you would chose a black over a white just because of the color of his skin. You are the racist. I'm out. Fuck you, clown. I'm not the one. Number one is this isn't for anybody but my people. You show your ass up here and start talking crazy and I see it, I will check your ass. You damn right. I'm going to choose black over white. That's what everyone else does. No one gets called out for being racist or hate when they choose their own. It's black people. We're expected to kiss everybody's ass except to love our own. You can kiss my ass and get off my damn channel. I will take anything from my own. I'll take questioning. I'll take correction. But don't bring your ass on my channel and you haven't been through what me and my people have been through. I've gotten rid of it. And somebody, if anybody else pop up with that BS, get them out of here. My thing is, like I said, I don't think that I know everything. I never come from that direction. While I've spent literally tens of thousands of hours researching and understanding the plight of my people so that I can be a tool and a catalyst for change and empowerment. I don't come with this arrogant, I know it all mentality. But what I do, and all I ask is that when you challenging me from a place of respect and bring something to the table to back up your challenge. Don't challenge me from what you feel, because I don't teach from what I feel. A lot of the times how I feel isn't what I teach. I teach the facts. I teach what I've discovered. I teach what I've discovered. And so I'm going to always bring that. And I invite my people to challenge me because it keeps me on my toes. It makes me stand up and be straight. But believe me, don't let the degrees on the wall, don't let the manner in which I speak ever fool you into thinking I'm candy. You come on my page, I'll check you, and I've got the money. I'll come find you. You will not disrespect my page with that bull crap. We are the only people that when we start talking about loving ourselves and being independent of ourselves, we're accused of being racist. We don't have the power collectively to negatively impact any other group. Not even a little bit. I like when these clowns come on and think because I'm educated, they can talk to me or handle me any kind of way. I come from a place that I will reach out and touch you. I'm not a be a bigger person type cat. I'm not that dude. I am not that dude. I am not going to be the bigger person. I will touch you. And it's always them cats that ain't about to do jack shit, to start shit and then immediately scream peace. I'm not the one. Okay, for all of y'all, excuse me. Some of y'all have never seen me get that way. And I work every day not to be that person. But the thing is, I'm ready to do what I got to do at any point in time because number one, I got a family to protect. Number two is I got a mission to fulfill. And I can't do it as a coward. And everything is not going to be settled with the pen and with words. I'm not that naive. And see, I grew up in an environment where I couldn't be afraid to die. Now, the only difference between the 52-year-old man and the 15-year-old kid is that the stupid stuff I was willing to die for then, I am no longer willing to die for. But the things I'm willing to die for now, I will die for. And like Dr. King says, a man that does not have something for which he is willing to die is not fit to live. Find you something you're willing to fight for, stand for, and die for. And you're going to find fulfillment in your life. Okay. But anyway, once again, don't forget to support the work we're doing. Like I said, for all of you who have never seen me do that, I definitely apologize. That is not what I plan to do when I come on here. A lot of times I see stuff that's come on, I let it ride. I let it ride, and I simply let my administrators deal with it. I just happened to glance over and I wasn't in the mood. I was not in the mood to have somebody that doesn't look like me try to call me and talk to me and tell me what and how I should have performed, should speak on something. But anyway, this whole thing with Candace Owens. Candace Owens sold her soul a long time ago, and it's not simply because she's married to a white person. It's because she champions white interests. It's because she found a space in which the white sector was willing to use her as a tool and a weapon against the narrative and argument and position of the Black collective. She is what white supremacy uses to make the argument against our challenges, against our claims, against our demands. She is the person that when you say racism, she says no, because look at me, look at what I've done. And then the crazy thing is, she acts as if we can't look back and research and find out that you found prominence because you actually sued and won a discrimination case based on race. And there's nothing more disgusting than a racial sellout, a traitor who can be bought and then be paid to put their people in harm's way or to deal blows of detriment to their people when you know that they are actually intelligent enough to see the truth. Some people speak from a place of ignorance. They don't know any better. They're just looking at something and spewing out whatever they heard or whatever has been impressed upon them. But some people actually know what they're saying is bull, but they get paid to say it. Jason Whitlock with the BS that he came out and said. You know, he came out against LeBron and called LeBron out for basically the same thing. And what LeBron is basically aware of, and he seems to be aware of at a young age, relatively speaking, in his mid-30s, is that his wealth won't protect him completely. Now, it'll allow him to navigate and be in an environment that insulates him from certain things that the average Black man has to experience. But under the right circumstances, it will not. And we have seen it happen on more than one occasion. We have seen film of a record executive, a Black record executive in Los Angeles, being held at gunpoint and set down on a curb for doing absolutely nothing but getting in his car. We can go over and over and over again and look at all of the different things that have happened and understand why we feel the way we feel about what we saw on that film with what happened with Ahmaud Arbery. We understand that with all of the people who were there to protect Gregory and Travis McMichael, that for there to still be an arrest 2 months later, there had to be some evidence of wrongdoing because they were in their backyard, in a part of Georgia that is still steeped in the what's the term I want to use? The reminiscent aura of the antebellum South, so to speak, where they still sit back and think about how glorious the days of slavery was. That thing, look at the people. In the picture with the governor who appointed the Black judge, Black former judge who is a DA now. In the picture with them, in the picture with the current DA, this McMichael's guy is obviously known and liked and was being protected. One of the other officers of the district attorney's office was sitting up and actually sending out letters saying that from his perspective, the killing was justified. There was no wrongdoing, and he was standing by that. And even when he recused himself, he made it a point to say, I still don't believe any wrongdoing, but I'm recusing myself. And so we understand in that environment, in an antebellum environment where everybody's still thinking the way people thought 150 years ago in the South, for these men to finally be arrested, obviously there's some evidence that speaks to the contrary of what this ignorant person, and ignorant is the word because she knows better, this traitor, this race traitor, who got her space and her stage from suing for racial discrimination and then turned around and started preaching there's no racial discrimination, there's no racism in America, there's no distinct disparity in the differences in the way Blacks are treated in comparison to whites, in the amount of access that Blacks have to capital to start businesses and build houses and develop communities in comparisons to white, the way that Blacks have to struggle just to get in front of the interviewer for a job that they're actually more qualified for, the way you have to sit up and look, where we've got literally studies from the University of Michigan and the University of Southern California that show that interviewers and HR departments literally pass over applications in which the name seems ethnic or quote unquote Black. They were passing over applications solely based on the name because it appeared to be ethnic. Never ever got a chance to get in front of them because of your name. I gotta the God King Darrell. I gotta check out who this cat is she married. Before I understand, he's a piece of work, but I definitely gotta check him out. But my thing is, she is not the voice of Black America. She doesn't have a right to preach to America. She doesn't have a right to go on tangents about what's happening in Black America. She is a representative of white supremacy. She is a mouthpiece for white supremacy. She needs to know when to speak up and when not to. She needs to stick to her commentaries on Fox or wherever she's at right now. She does not need to be sticking her nose in this, and we need to make it our business to drag her ass every time she does it. Every time she does it, we need to give her about a good week of literally shutting down her Twitter account, dragging her, and pointing out to all the masses the contradictions in who she's pretending to be and who she really is. And that goes for anybody else who wants to jump over there and use their skin color against us because it pays. You know, some of your jobs dictate your stomach. Your jobs dictate what you're willing to do, what you're willing to say. Well, I've lost clients. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't have an employer. I do business with people of all different backgrounds and colors. And I've lost multiple clients. And I don't mean as an individual. I mean, I lost a lighting company that was a percentage of my total all revenue back in 2015. Lost another one in 2017. Major income because they found what I was doing in the Black community in video content and in written content on the Odyssey Project. And they said they couldn't be directly associated with that. They wanted me to not only stifle or tone down what I was saying, but they wanted me to remove everything that I had put up. And I said, absolutely not. Though I would hate to lose you as a client, I'm prepared to do so, to stand firmly on what I believe. At the time I did it, I may have mentioned it to a few people. It delayed what I was doing for my family at least 6 years. It has me behind right now. But I can't be paid and compromised at the same time. I'm not built that way. I don't have a problem with who you love. But if who you love affects how you operate, that's a problem to me. That is an absolute problem to me. I don't have to approve of your mate, as if you don't have to approve of my mate. But I do get to sit up and say, based off of who you're with and how they behave. And like I said, it ain't like she went off and married some guy. Because again, my friends have been solid with me. Matter of fact, when I was on my back, the worst year of my life, 2012, where the whole bottom fell out and I had to start over, the person that helped me didn't look like me. And he has never asked for anything in return, just checks on me every now and then. And I do the same with him, but he will not accept anything in return. He said that he saw something in me and he saw that I needed it. And he reached out and he did it and he done. And I was begging my people to help me. Now, when I had, everybody's in my face. And with all that said and done, I respect who this guy is. And I respect every other person that's put in me. My mentor from 30 years ago that I still consult with is a white Jew. I am simply going to be committed to my people above all else. And if you care about me, you will care about how you come at me and how you deal with me and my people. And so my friends understand. If you got an opinion that's contrary to where I'm going, you better keep it to yourself. You'll find they don't hardly show. They own my social media accounts, some of them, especially Facebook. Never chime in. Why? This ain't your thing. When I talk about something light and funny, they come running. When I'm on that stuff, they stay back. Not because they don't agree with me, because they don't have a voice in it. It's like they know what they should be contributing to and what they shouldn't be. But when it comes to, I'm just going to be honest with you. You know, some people I'm going to piss off. This is going to get in front of some people and they're going to get pissed off. And I understand that. Derek Watson, you got a point. I'm glad I caught that, man. You know, even when you get, that's the whole thing is white race doesn't have people who marry outside of their race that bash their race. Like, for instance, we got people that'll get married to somebody's white, and then their explanation is totally based off of how horrible black people is. So I had to get me a white person. Black men have a tendency of doing that. And I've seen it in black women too. You know, he treats me, you know, black men don't know how to treat me. Man, there's a clown and a fool in every ethnicity. There's an abusive person, an alcoholic, a cheater in everything. There is someone that will sit up and handle you roughly in any situation. And if you think it's not, you better do the research on who's the most likely to kill their spouse. And you'll find out that it's actually white women. I mean, and as much as black men get nailed for intimate partner homicide, it is an issue, and I'm not going to ever marginalize that. It's one of the issues I speak on consistently because it's such an issue. With women between the ages of 15 and 44, it's the #1 killer. But if you look at the other side over there, they don't need provocation. I mean, it's women poisoning their husbands because they're just tired. Poisoning them for the life insurance policy. Poisoning them because they want to lead them for somebody else, but they don't want to lose what they could get if they're dead versus in a divorce. They are very conniving in a lot of the things that'll be done. And no, I'm not speaking generally, but I'm not finna sit up and explain myself. Look, here's this. My point on Candace is real simple. We have to hold every person who speaks on Black reality accountable, especially when they are Black and being used by a system that we know oppresses us. When we can pull empirical data in the stacks to reveal how we've been negatively impacted socioeconomically, academically, politically, over and over and over again, from slavery to Reconstruction to Black codes to convict leasing to redlining to Jim Crow segregation to urban renewal to benign neglect to gentrification to mass incarceration. Over and over again, re-injury, 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 re-injury. We've never dealt with the initial trauma, but we're consistently being re-injured. This is known as complex trauma. A lot of people talk about PTSD. One of my colleagues, Dr. Joy DeGroot, went well deep off into the psychosis of generational trauma and how trauma is passed down. And she explores it, but she explores it with a theory that visits the corresponding nature of post-traumatic stress disorder and what she called post-traumatic slave syndrome. But what I add to it in my book, Born in Captivity, is what I discovered in research is that when you start talking about what the Blacks have experienced, it's not simply post-traumatic stress, because post-traumatic stress is about an event. One event that was so traumatic that it made an impression, both physically and emotionally and psychologically, that imprinted. It had an epigenetic influence on who you are. It changed you permanently. That's a post-traumatic stress situation. Complex trauma is the stacking of traumatic events. It can be the same thing over and over again, like a child being molested over and over again by the same person, or it can be molested, shot, parents broke up, police raid the house, wrong house. All different things are traumatic, but they are stacked. Fired from a job or not hired from a job while you're qualified, losing your job to somebody less qualified than you. Over and over and over again, you're constantly being re-injured. Serial force displacement, an entirely different thing. Serial force displacement is where there are the systematic moves that force Black people out of their environment, disperse them and move them other places so that white people can move in. You got gentrification, urban renewal, benign neglect, redlining. All of these are forms of serial force displacement, and that is a traumatic experience. We've got all of these things, and we live them consistently. And what we've got to be aware of is those who will speak against it as if it did not happen. Those who will try to marginalize the Black struggle and make it about us not putting forth an effort, us not raising ourselves up by our bootstraps. We will not look at the big head start in wealth building that was afforded to whites based off the labor of our ancestors, and how we have never been allowed equal footing to even get involved in that process of wealth building. All of the mechanisms that are immediately ready and available to them are cut off from us. But yet we're told, this is America, you can go out and do it. We have a responsibility as a race of people, not only to better ourselves, not only to make demands on those who have moved against us in detriment, but to hold accountable the ones who will speak ill of our struggle, speak ill of our demands, speak ill of our claims, and knowingly do so for the sake of financial gain. She is one of many. And what we must do is drag them every time, make it very, very uncomfortable, hit them in their pockets. And we need to be vocal. We need to be expressive, but we also need to be strategic. We've got to get to a point to where we are doing the things we need to do in order to rise to the level we need to rise to academically, politically, financially, and in every other way. We've got some healing to do on the inside. They're never going to provide the environment for us to heal. That's going to be our responsibility. They're never going to fully and totally educate our children. That wouldn't be wise. It was Malcolm that said, anyone who expects their enemy to educate their children is a fool. And yet here we are. We've got to come together. We got to do some things. That's one of the things that we focus on at the Odyssey Project: program development, research. We're doing great work with the Black Men Lead Rite of Passage Initiative with young Black males ages 4 to 30. We're doing great work with young Black girls with Restoring Ghettos Forgotten Daughters. We're dealing with the mental health issue in the Black community with a new mental health initiative where we are creating networks around the country so that we can service the needs of these many Black males specifically who are struggling with mental health issues and don't have the resources to properly confront it. We are doing the work, and that has to be something that's done on a national level. That has to be something where we have a force. We've got to get behind the efforts of people who are doing the work. It is extremely important that we do that. There are some people out there that are excellent at what they do, but they need support. There are people out there who have put in hours and hours and hours upon research, and they have discerned the findings and put it out for it to be devoured. There are those who are teachers, master teachers, who are teaching unbelievable lessons and giving you the tools you need to put into place the proper agendas, strategies, and protocols. But we've got to take this seriously. We're never going to be fully invited to their table. That table wasn't built for us. It was built by us. And then they took it upon themselves to have it. We're going to have to build our own table. It was Dr. King that says, I do believe that we are actually going to get integration. I believe that it is now a sure reality that we will in some way be integrated into the society of this country. But I am fearful that I have integrated my people into a burning house. And what does that mean? It means that what we need to do is stop focusing on saving the house. Let the house burn. What we need to be focusing on is first and foremost rebuilding a new table. And after we build a new table and we are seated with the great minds that are available at the table, we then come up with the blueprint of how we will build our house. And it will not be dependent upon getting the validation or approval or approbation from anyone outside of the group. We have a responsibility to understand the dynamics of the world we live in. We lose so much because we have failed to gain an understanding of what's happening, how it's happening, why it's happening, and what can be done about it. We don't know how things work. We have very limited understanding of military science, very limited understanding of political science, very limited understanding of financial science, very limited understanding of how things move from a point of criminology and poverty. So we don't understand that they have systematically and strategically backed us into a corner of poverty, which automatically puts us at a higher risk of criminology, which puts us at a higher risk of incarceration, which puts us at a situation where they now in a situation to limit our access solely based on background. And it can actually be seen as a positive because they got us labeled now as criminals. We have to understand the way the game is played, and we have to become smarter. What I can tell you is this, and then I'll be done. When it's all said and done, Candace Owens will be like so many other so many other black race traders that sold out to the other side to be used against us as a collective. Is when they finally used her and she is of no more use to her, they will literally break her. They will not just cut her loose, they will break her. That's what they do. They take you and use you, then they break you. Look at Stacey Dash. Look at the sheriff down. I believe he's in Florida, the sheriff down in Florida that everybody loves, but now they're every time you look up, they're dropping something negative on him in the media. They're through with him. This is what I want to do. I want to just encourage everybody, man. Thank you guys for being there for me. Thanks for the support. Again, I'm on my way to mending from those heart attacks. I feel a lot better. Just finished my workout for the day and showered before I got on with you guys. And I am immediately, I'm eminently appreciative of what you guys have done in supporting me. So I want to say thank you for that. On the other side of things, God, on the other side of things, look, support the work we're doing. I appreciate everyone who will go to the description box or check out the links in there. If you don't want to go to the site and use the link to give, or you can always use the Odyssey Project's Cash App account to support the work we're doing. Whatever you decide to do, it's going to be greatly appreciated. We're pushing through no matter what. I thank so many of you, but make sure you share the video, get it out. I want as much volume and force moving against Candace Owens as possible. On that note, I'm going to check out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day. I have so much to get back to you with. I'll be back a little later with the next topic. Take care.